If you're planning a Mediterranean cruise, you know already that this is a very different cruise than other types of cruises. In fact, there are some mistakes that I made and some things that I learned that I wish I would have known before my Mediterranean cruise. Hi there, I'm Ilana from the website lifewellcruise.com. Welcome back to my channel. Now, we just arrived back from our Mediterranean cruise yesterday, and I wanted to film this video while it was pretty fresh in my mind. As a matter of fact, as I went through all of the days of my cruise, before my cruise, and after my cruise, while I was in the ports of call, I took little notes about things I really wasn't aware of or things that I wanted to remember to share with you so that you don't make some of the mistakes that I did. Even if you're really prepared, like I thought I was, there are probably still a few things that might come as a surprise that can be helpful. Now, before I get started, I did want to mention that if you like this video, if you find it helpful, informative, or enjoyable in any way, then please do give this video a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Let's get started. Number one, booking flights. Now, I think a lot of people know this, that before you go on a cruise, you want to make sure that you do arrive there at least one day before your cruise. However, for a Mediterranean cruise, you probably want to do 2 days at the very least. What you'll want to do is make sure that you have time to acclimate to the time difference and also get over that jet lag. You do not want to start your cruise off tired. And honestly, if you arrive in any time that's less than 2 days before your cruise, you just won't have time to explore and enjoy your embarkation cruise port of call. And keep in mind, you might be leaving from Rome, you might be leaving from Athens or from Barcelona. These are definitely places where you want to take the time to see the sights, to eat the food, and even soak up a little bit of the local culture. Now, when it comes to after your cruise, something that not a lot of people talk about, and we found out on our cruise, a lot of people said that they made the mistake of not actually booking a flight at least 1 day or even 2 days after their cruise. Now, in particular, if your cruise starts in one port and ends in the other, for instance, we started off in Barcelona and then we ended in Rome. It was so nice to be able to have 2 days in Rome. We walked everywhere, had an amazing time, and if we would have just flown home from Rome on the same day, we would have completely missed out. Number two, when it comes to booking your hotels, think location, location, location. That really is the most important thing. You want to make sure that you've booked a hotel in the area that you want to be. Basically, that you're within 10 minutes or so of walking distance for those major sites that you want to see, or, well, basically somewhere that is close to public transportation or even near a hop-on, hop-off bus. Now, the other thing that you want to look at, of course, well, are the reviews, but you really want to make sure that your hotel is safe and secure. So make sure that you do check that within the reviews. Now, something to look for, and to be honest, it's nothing that I really would have ever considered when going on a Mediterranean cruise, but we ended up finding out that we loved it, is try to see if you can find a hotel that has a rooftop pool or even a rooftop restaurant. What we found out when we stayed at our hotel in Barcelona was that we really enjoyed that rooftop pool at the end of the day after we came back from sightseeing and walking. It was just so nice to have a break and be able to hang out at the rooftop pool for about an hour, have a drink if we wanted to. That was really a pleasure. Now, in particular, if you are cruising during the summer months, so between June and September, it can get really hot and you could really appreciate having a place to cool off. Number three, balance out your excursions. Now, this is honestly something that I wish somebody would have told me when I was booking all of my excursions, was choose some that are longer days. They could be 8 hours, they could be 9 hours, sometimes they're 10 hours, but also choose excursions that are shorter and easier, and consider excursions that don't necessarily leave at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the morning. The truth is, a Mediterranean cruise is amazing. We want to be able to see as much as we can, but we all need a little bit of downtime. We need time to enjoy the ship. We need time to sleep. We need time to give our legs a rest from all of the walking. So try to look and pick and choose when it comes to your excursions. Some days to really explore a lot, but have other days that you do a little bit less. Maybe even have a tour where you sit down for lunch. One of the tours that we really enjoyed was in Gibraltar, and while we had a little sightseeing portion to the beginning, after that we did sit down for a wine tasting and food pairing, and that was a really nice way to spend time in the afternoon. Number 4, when it comes to the cruise ports of call, there are a few things that you need to know. And not all of these are super obvious, especially if you live in North America like me. So one of them is you always want to make sure that you have a euro or two, the actual change, on you. That is because you may need it for a public restroom. Now, you can also go to a restroom in a restaurant if you've gone there, but if you're just walking around for the day, it can happen that you need to use a restroom and you will need a euro to go in. Now, when it comes to the restaurants, don't be surprised if you have a cover charge to sit down and eat your food at a table. Yes, there are sometimes that there is a cover charge of 5 or 6 euros to actually sit down and eat versus taking your food away and going. And this is something that we found when we were in Portofino. By the way, the food was so good there. We didn't regret it at all. Now, this was also the case at a little cafe we stopped in Barcelona. While we were fine with the cover charge, and we knew that because we did ask, there were people that sat down next to us. They had already taken some food from the counter and had a couple of coffees from the counter, and they were told that they needed to leave the table. They were very surprised. Something else to be aware of, also because it really is just very different from North America, is that when it comes to water, either still or sparkling water, there is a charge, and usually you'll be brought a bottle for your table, and it should be about 3 to 4 euros. Number 5, we have to talk about pickpocketing and how you can make sure that you keep your items safe and secure. So firstly, you just don't want to let your guard down. You want to be alert. Now, you don't need to be in a panic. It really isn't that bad, but it does actually happen, in particular in big cities like Barcelona and in Rome. So something that you'll want to do is just avoid taking your handbag, for instance, and this is ladies and men, even if men might have a belt bag or something like that. Do not put it on the chair next to you when you sit in a restaurant. Don't put it on the back of the chair. You want to just have that in front of you. Now, you can use a money belt if you want. That will definitely help. The other thing that you can do is make sure, if you're in a cruise port of call, is don't take your passports with you. Leave them on the ship in your safe. It's actually the safest place to leave your items. Now, if you're staying in a hotel before or after your cruise, likewise, use that hotel safe. As long as you've chosen a good hotel, that is going to be the best place to keep your items. Now, you can also check with the front desk at your hotel. Sometimes they're going to have a safety deposit box. That's another place to keep your items. So you'll want to keep your passports there. You'll want to keep at least one credit card and part of your money. Now, by the way, for your own safety and security, do make sure that you've taken photos of your passports. You may also want to even keep a copy of that on you, and you can even email yourself photos of your passport in case your phone ever got taken or got lost, that you could still access them. Number 6, avoid the most touristy restaurants. Now, of course, this sounds really obvious, but sometimes you're hungry, you're tired, you're walking in the main area, you don't know where to go, and we've all done it. Honestly, we ended up at a really bad restaurant in Barcelona. It was overpriced. The food was not good. It was not a good value. We anyway did learn from that. And the next day what we did is we tried to ask some local people for some restaurant recommendations, and really to find some restaurants that were on the side streets, so not on the main road. We ended up getting an amazing recommendation from a bellhop at a hotel in the area. He was absolutely not wrong. This restaurant was so good. It was full of tourists, yes, but also locals alike. Number 7, book your tickets and tours in advance. Now, not only does this apply to your cruise excursions, although you can often still find an excursion on the cruise ship if you didn't make up your mind. So don't over worry, but the things you really want to do, make sure that you do book them in advance, but also in your embarkation and debarkation ports of call. Now, for instance, if you want to go to Sagrada Familia, don't do like we did. Don't just show up and think, well, I can always stay in line. It turned out that all of the tours were actually booked out for that day, and we were only there for that day that we could really explore. So that was a mistake on our part. Now, we were able to get tickets to Casa Mila, which really was very interesting and very nice, so we didn't regret that. But it is something to know. And likewise, if you're going to Florence or you're going to Rome and you want to go inside some of those museums or the Colosseum, you do want to book those skip the lines tickets or those tours in advance. Now, I have a couple of tips that have to do with Mediterranean cruise packing and what not to forget. I actually forgot something, And then I have something that I never really heard anybody talk about before, and it has to do with shopping. So it may not be for everybody, but it may be for some of you. So number 8, don't forget to bring a beach bag or a pool bag. Now that's something that I forgot, I guess because when I go on a Caribbean cruise, I know I'm going to need to bring a pool bag or a beach bag, but it's just not anything that I thought about for my Mediterranean cruise. But I did go to the pool sometimes. I needed my sunscreen, I needed my sunglasses, other items. So make sure you just bring something that's easy to fold up. You're probably not going to go to a beach. You might though. But if you don't plan on going to a beach, just bring something like this. I will leave the links down below in the description of the video. And even this one, this is a super good tote bag. It also folds up to next to nothing. And this was just something that I wish I would have brought on my cruise. Number 9, comfortable shoes. Now, I think we all know this, but something that really is good about the styles these days, in particular for women, is that you can wear running shoes or sneakers or trainers. You can wear them with dresses. So you can look pretty cute, but you can still wear your sneakers. Or as an alternative, you might also want to get some comfortable walking sandals. Number 10. Now, this is truly not something that I heard people talk about before, and it was actually one of the salespeople at a store that did tell me about it. And if you do think that you might be shopping for certain items, there are actually some handbags or shoes that are, well, available in Europe that might be much cheaper than they would be in the United States or in Canada. And there is a nicer selection as well. So if you do think that you might go shopping for something that you could do is you could apply to have the VAT tax back, or basically the VAT refund. Now you can do this. They will have to fill out a form at the store, but after that, before you fly home from Europe, so right at the airport, you'll just have to go to the little stand for the VAT refund, and they'll stamp that, and they will actually process a refund within a couple of days. And we were able to get back over 100 euros. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Please let me know if you're going or if you're planning on going on a Mediterranean cruise. And please let me know as well if you have any other tips to share. Please let us know down in the comments below, because I know that they will be helpful to others. Now, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Bye for now, and happy cruising.